What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Flop. We're really excited to see you guys after a week off from the podcast. This is episode 13. We're going to be talking about who throws whose bags, in a blind draw or a bring your own partner situation. Who is going to concede their will and throw the other person's bags? It's going to be a good episode. But before we do that, we want to thank our sponsors, Triple Crown. Definitely go check them out on Facebook and also their .com website. As always, they're linked down below in the description. Another thing I want to say, thank you guys so much for everybody that's bought some flop merch off of our Teespring account. It is so cool. Trust me, it really, really helps us because we have a couple subscriptions that we have to pay for like recording the podcast and posting it and everything like that. So you guys are really, really helping out by doing that. And we cannot thank you enough. Without further ado, Dad, what is up?
What is up? I feel like it's been forever since we've talked.
Yeah, I know. Me too. Have you been throwing like very much?
I haven't thrown much in blind draw situations as of late. I have been able to throw a little bit more around the house and stuff. And then of course, squeak in a bag review here and there. So, but I have really not been throwing a whole lot, and it breaks my heart. We went on vacation and so we were away for a minute, and of course I tried to find a blind draw, and we were in Gatlinburg, and apparently there was nothing in Gatlinburg. So definitely mark that off of the possible move to locations, because you don't have cornhole in your area, then there's no point in even living there.
That's exactly
right. But so cool. It's been it's been a little bit since I've been able to consistently throw. And it definitely showed. I went to a blind draw a couple of weeks ago when we got back, and it was just awful. It was just like all over the place. I was like, you have your moments where it's like, okay, there it is. And then the next round, it was just absolute trash. So I apologize to my partner, because I was definitely the liability that night. And, but it is what it is. It's like we've talked about a million times. If you want to stay at the level, if you want to stay at your best, not the best, if you want to stay at your best, you've got to throw. I mean, you just do. Right. It's too easy just to lose it. You would think it's just throwing a beanbag, but there's so much more to that. And that's one of the things we talk about a lot on this show, is that it's so much more than just throwing a beanbag. And so consistency is key. And over the past week, I've been able to throw a little bit more, and I've been able to see a little bit of it coming back. So hopefully we're getting there. So tell me about you. What about you, man?
Definitely. I haven't been playing this game at all. I've been so slammed with work. I haven't been to a blind draw in a couple weeks. It's so sad. I'm just, I do what I do to keep up with the podcast and everything. And I'm just turning into a fan of the sport. And now I'm just, talking on the podcast all the time. I'm going to switch to commentating maybe one day and just give it all up.
I'm just kidding.
Just
give it all up. It's fine.
But I haven't been throwing very much, but I'm excited to get back into it when I can. And I'm excited about this episode today.
Yeah, me too. I think this is one that a lot of people have questions about. You hear it live in blind draw situations. You hear people talk about it all the time when they're planning for a bring your own partner event. People are trying to figure out. I know I've been part of that conversation, but tell them what we're talking about. Yeah.
So we just want to talk about today, everybody, what bags should you throw if you're in a situation where two people want to throw different bags? And so we're going to look at it from a couple different angles. I think the first one, the most accessible one, the most common one, is a blind draw situation. So you have a random partner. What do you do? What are the first steps? I think the first steps are probably, if you have a chance, you want to do a few down and backs with some different bags and see what's kind of working for you guys. What do you typically do in that situation, Dad?
I honestly feel like in a blind draw situation, typically, if I'm the better of the pair, I will typically ask that person what they want to throw, because I always have it in my mind. And I would say that statistics would back me up on this, but I have it in my mind that the better player is more likely to adjust to a different bag than the player who's not as good,
Yeah.
who is comfortable with their bag. You want them to throw the best that they can, and then you want to adjust on your end, is the way I look at it. So if
That
I'm the
seems
better of the
reasonable.
two, if I'm the better of the two, I'm definitely going to be like, hey man, what do you want to throw? We'll throw whatever you want to throw. And sometimes you get people that are like, oh no, man, whatever you want to throw is fine. I don't care. And unfortunately, I'm not the kind of guy that's just like, bet we're throwing my Vikings. Let's go. I'm
Yeah.
just not like that. I'm like, I try to pull it out of them. Okay, well, what do you normally throw? Because I carry a bunch of sets of bags with me, so I've got something for everybody. And
Yeah.
but I'm like, I'll try to pull it out of them. Well, what do you normally throw? Well, I normally throw X or whatever, and then I'll try to pick a bag that's at least comparable to that, or I'll just be like, well, let's throw yours then. Let's go.
For sure.
But I feel like that's just the safest scenario in that situation is that the better player should probably yield the bag to the player who's not as good.
Yeah, I think so too. I think if somebody is a better player, if you are the better player, or your partner is better than you, I think it's probably safe to say that they've been playing the game longer than you. They have much more exposure to a lot of different types of bags. I know when I have been blessed enough to be partnered with pro level players, they have been able to throw my bags. And I've seen it with Bobby Hunt, a guy out here who's a very high advanced level player. And then also Cheyenne Renner. She throws all slides, and she used to throw game changers and or all slides, right? Am I crazy?
Yeah, I think she did throw game changers at one point, but yeah, all
Yeah.
slides game
Okay.
changers, both really fast bags.
Yeah. Super fast bags. I mean, and she threw my Vikings, and she threw the crap out of them. I mean, it was
Yeah,
literally there was no change to her skill level or her ability. But what it did was it made us a better team because I'm the worst player. And so it made me feel more comfortable, and we were able to have some success. So that
yeah,
was a
absolutely.
huge learning experience for me.
Yeah, and I remember when you got second in that, and it's amazing. It's like of course, Cheyenne throws quite possibly the flattest bag on planet
Yep.
Earth. So that
That's
always
insane.
helps when you're throwing a Viking. But I do not believe that it matters in the least bit. I feel like any player with any type of throw at a pro level that steps in could take any bag you put in their hand and do well with it.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
so I totally agree with you. It just makes more sense.
Yeah. And there are people that are, good advanced level players that are performing at that level that can't really throw some type of carpet bags that kick a little bit more, have a more bite to them. And that's why you have to know yourself. You have to know
Right.
what you're capable of. You have to understand, what does my bag look like when it hits the board? And
Right.
am I playing into that natural kick, or is my bag just flat and true as can be?
You're right. And that's another thing too that a pro level player has the advantage of doing. If they throw the down and backs and they're like, "Oh, okay, well, the way my bag's landing, it's kicking a little to the right." They make that adjustment in their head, and then it doesn't matter the rest of the game.
It's
It's
crazy.
just yeah, it's
Yeah.
insane. Like I know for a fact I've sat at my boards before, and I don't know what it is. Don't ask me what to explain it, because I can. It's one of life's unknown questions.
Yep.
Why is it you can throw three bags in a row straight at the hole? It can hit in front of the hole and kick to the right. Okay.
Okay.
So you missed three shots in a row and you've lined them up on the right side of the hole. You can take your last bag and say, I'm going to hit to the left of the hole now, and it will kick into the hole.
Too
Easy
easy.
peasy, right? Too
Yep.
easy. It sounds like absolutely. And then you throw your bag, it lands perfectly to the left of the hole and flies so true that you could lay plumbing with it.
Yep. Absolutely.
And it's like,
Yeah, a perfect like NASA laser that they use to like go across the salt
yeah,
flats to test if the earth is flat or curved or not. A
yeah,
perfect laser.
it's just
Yeah,
right, just
exactly.
money.
We've all experienced that for
I know.
sure.
But anyway, for whatever reason, pro and advanced level players don't seem to have the problems of us common men.
Nah, it's interesting. Us mere mortals down here
Us mere mortals.
with our
Yes.
hundreds of bags. Yeah. So another hack that I think that we talk about a little bit, something that could potentially benefit you if you're in a situation where you don't know what bags to throw. You could try to throw the same material. So if someone likes to throw, if someone likes to throw a bag that is a little bit faster and you have a bag that you like to throw and it's got a slow side and a fast side, and that fast side is the same material of the slow side that they always throw, maybe
Mhm.
consider suggesting it to them and they might be down to do it.
No, that's an absolute. It's a really good point. I see it. I've seen it locally. I've got some guys locally who, up until recently, through Vikings or Pro Advantages,
Mhm.
in doubles play. But one of the players through Vikings Pro Advantages all the time. Doubles, singles didn't matter. The other guy threw Vipers, which could not
Wow.
be more different. Could not be more different than a Pro Advantage or a Viking. But one thing that they do have in common is they share the same material on either side of that bag. So the slow side
Yep.
of the Viper, it does have dots, which, they threw series Vipers, so they were kind of more worn down anyway. So I don't know if they made that much of a difference. But
Okay.
the slow side of the Viper is the same material as the fast side of the Viking, fast side of
Okay.
the Pro Advantage. So simply what he did was the Viper guy just threw the fast side of the at the Viking. And
No
so,
problem.
it didn't affect the other player at all, right? Now, obviously, it is not a one-to-one comparison. Throwing the slow side, throwing the fast side of a Viking is not a one-to-one comparison of throwing a slow side of a Viper.
No.
It's not. Obviously, the Viking is typically a little more compact bag. It's typically a little more full. So it's definitely going to have a different hand feel. The fact that your thumb is on a carpet material versus that super slick fast side of a Viper, that can affect your release. So
Yep.
there are definitely some factors that play into that. But and it's a big but, if that player can adjust to it, it can be the perfect answer for a team that throws very different bags in singles than they do in doubles. And they've had great success. These two guys are both really great players. They've had wonderful success with doing that. And so I feel like, that if that is an option for you, like in the blind draw environment or in a bring your own partner environment, if that's an option, it can be a very good option.
Yeah, definitely. And I kind of want to put you on the spot here and give you a little test of your bag material knowledge. So
Oh,
we've just said this, pick the same material. A lot of people are going to be like, how on absolute earth am I going to know what material is what on what bags? So I was wondering if you could kind of go through some bags that have the same fast side and the same slow side and maybe put it together with some of the most popular bags so that people can take this episode and then apply it when they try to actually, find the right bag for them and their partner.
yeah, we can try to do that.
Okay.
That was a very spontaneous question, so I wasn't
Yeah.
able to
I think
prepare
it's going to
for
be
it,
so
but
helpful for people though. And
yeah,
you don't
it
have to
could
go through
be.
every bag, but
Well, I will tell you this, that there are, some options. If you're a fast bag thrower and you throw a game changer or an all slide or something like that,
mhm,
then obviously, if you can throw fast side game changer, if you don't use the patch and you throw that fast side material, then like a combat has the same fast side, a mercenary has the same fast side, a surefire has the same fast side. So if you run into any of these types of bags, a Blackwater Castello has the same
yeah.
fast side. So if you run into a situation where a person says, I throw carpet, and you're like, well, I throw super fast bags,
Mhm.
there are some options. A combat, a mercenary, those are definitely good options. A
Yes.
surefire, has a slower side and then has that same faster material. So if you can throw a fast side game changer, that could be a good option for you.
Yes.
I specifically want to give some props to the combat in this discussion, because the combat is a pretty loose carpet bag.
It is.
So
Yeah.
I've got a set of Triple Crown combats that are just floppy. I mean, they're awesome bags. I love the combats. You know, we did a review on them on the channel, but I love the combats because I mean they are a looser bag, so it could be a great option if you're a carpet bag thrower and you have a partner or you run into people who want to throw fast bags. Combats could be a perfect option for you because it's loose enough to kind of simulate that game changer feel.
Yeah.
Without being quite as loose. Obviously, nothing gets really as loose as a game changer when it's super broken in, but
Okay.
the combat is a great in hand feel, so it could be a good option. Let's see here. If you throw like what we were talking about, if you throw like a Pro Advantage, or if you throw a Viking or a Neptune, or you throw, let's see here, even like a 724 Chaos, if these are the types of carpet bags that you throw, then the fast side of that is that like 7 material, which you can get on the slow side of an all slide, on the slow side of a Viper, on the slow side of a Pro Sniper, on the slow side of a Loco, things like that. So there are these options are as well. So let's say that you don't like a super fast bag on your carpet. You don't like a super fast side on your carpet. You know, those are the slower fast side versions, but pairing up with a person who does throw a faster bag, like they like Pro Snipers, they like Vipers, they like Costellos, they like Locos, they like any of these like faster speed bags. Then the good option would be to see if they'd be open to throwing the fast side of your Pro Advantage, your Viking, your Neptune, things like that. So torches, embers, you know, things like that. So, well, the embers actually have the game changer fast side, which is another good option for that I forgot earlier. But
definitely.
there definitely are options. The great thing, and sometimes the frustrating thing, is that all the bag makers typically use a lot of the same fabrics, you know, so a lot of people don't realize, you know, you had your OG bags, like your OG game changers when they first came out, and your OG series Vipers and things like that. People don't realize that the game changer material is the backside of the Viper material. It's the same material. It's just one side's the front, the other side's the back.
It's reversed, right? It's like,
yeah, it's literally just the other side
of it.
This is the Viper. This is the game changer. Now there is a slight speed variation. The Viper side material tends to run more of like a 9, and the game changer really runs more of like an 8. But it is the same material. And the same thing goes with like the Pro Sniper, the Loco, the Costello. They all share the inverse side of the Viking fast side, the Viper slow side. These are all just the inside of that. And it typically runs possibly a tick or so slower. So whereas you've got your Viper, which is like a 7-9 bag, you've got your Pro Sniper, which is like a 6-9 bag. So, or your Loco, which is like a 6-9, because it's just the inside of that material and it runs just a tick slower. But anyway, there's a lot of combinations of the same materials being used on different bags, which is why if you hopefully this helps, and I hope that it didn't get too convoluted or too confusing. Again, because this is all just coming off the top of my head. I was not prepared for that.
If you got to pause it, or, you know, pause it, look up what a combat is, pause it, you know, whatever.
Right.
But hopefully this will be helpful.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be helpful, because there are enough bags that share materials that you should be able to find a combination that fits you and a potential blind draw person. Now, I will say this: materials aren't all that they aren't the only exclusive thing to a bag. You know, there's obviously different fills. There's obviously different hand fills. There's obviously different templates, sizes, fullness, looseness. You know, Pro Snipers get very, very loose. So it's not a one-to-one comparison to say, okay, well, you know, we're going to throw the fast side of your Viking. That is not a one-to-one comparison. So, but again, if you have two people, one of them may be a better skill level, one of them may not be, or you might be just super evenly yoked. You might be super close in ability. There are enough bags to share the same materials that you should potentially be able to find something that works for you both. And it's just going to be a matter of not everybody's going to have their way. I just don't think that there's a bag that it's like, I throw the slow side and it's perfect for me. And this person's
Yeah.
like, I throw the fast side and it's perfect for me. There's always going to be a little bit of a conflict when it comes to that. And so the best thing you can do is just try to find the best compromise.
Yep.
And I know that sometimes when you talk about a compromise, it means that one person's getting their way and the other person's not getting their way. And unfortunately, when you're dealing with two individual human beings who have different ideas about everything, and you want to come together and become a unit or a team, you've got to do what's best for the team. And so, you know what? You tend to adapt better than I do. Can we throw my bag because I'm having the hardest time adjusting to your fast bag? Is it okay if we throw this and you just, try, or can we throw this other carpet bag that has a faster fast side? Would that maybe
Yeah,
be a good option? So yeah, it feels like a concession sometimes, but sometimes it is. You have to do what's best for the team in that moment. It's the way I look at it.
for sure. And this whole situation, everything we're talking about, this is why it's important to throw a lot of different bags. And we're not telling you you have to buy a million bags like my dad does, but it really it could be a good idea to have, you know, a bag that kind of exists in every category. So you have at least a set of carpet bags. You know what it's like to throw them. That way, you don't get out to the blind draw. You're throwing it. It's like, why is this bag kicking literally off the board every time I throw it? It's like, oh yeah, that's a carpet bag. Like it's has to be
Right.
perfectly flat, or you have to account for the kick. And
Right.
so you don't want to be blindsided. You want to have lots of different bags. It's just really important to make sure that you're well versed so you're ready for anything.
Absolutely. And I've always been a strong proponent of have a lot of bags, and not an obscene amount of bags. I know I have an obscene amount of bags, but have several different options of bags. And that doesn't have to be 10 sets. That doesn't have to be 6 sets. But at your blind draw, go in, see what people are throwing, see what you're looking at, and then try to have those kinds of options available to you. So when you're practicing, you can practice with those types of bags. When I first started out and I didn't have an obscene amount of bags at this point, I did have a set of Vipers because they were very popular in my area. They still are. I had a set of Pro X's that I threw because it was a carpet bag and I wanted to make sure that I knew how to throw a carpet bag if it came up. Um, I had a couple other sets of some lesser known bag. It was at the time it was like copper cornhole
Okay.
that nobody else really had, but it's like looking back on it now, I know what those fabrics were, and it was actually a really decent bag, but nobody wanted to give it a chance. But the point is look at what's popular at your blind draw. If you see what everybody's throwing, just make sure you have some variation of that. So I even had a set of game changers that I threw, and I'm not a game changer fan at all.
Yeah.
But I had a set of game changers because they were just coming up when I started going to blind draws, and everybody wanted to throw game changers. So I felt like, okay, well, I need to have a set of game changers because I need to be able to throw it if it comes up.
That's right.
So it's very important to have those options available to you. And again, it doesn't have to be 6 sets of bags. It doesn't have to be 5. I'd say at least 4, different speed ranges. I'd
Yeah.
say get a set of carpet bags, get a set of like a surefire variant, which is like a step up from that. Get a medium fast bag, and then get you a fast bag, and just
Yep.
throw with them, you know? And that should be enough to kind of get you going. But it's just important, you want to show up. If you're showing up to blind draw and your intentions are, to try to, improve your game, to try to make a run, to try to potentially win, you just want to be prepared.
Yep.
Because I can tell you when I switched over to carpet full time, I really started focusing on just throwing the carpet. I was getting ready for a particular regional, and I focused on throwing only my Vikings. I had like 4 sets of Vikings, and I threw Vikings exclusively in my practices. I went to the blind draw and we ended up winning. So thank God my partner's back was broken. But
Yeah.
I went to the Friday night blind draw before that regional, and he's a fast bag guy. And we threw my sure shot locos. And I love the locos. I've been singing their praises since I first got them. I mean, they really surprised me. I got them in and they were just great. And I really fell in love with them. That said, I hadn't thrown them in weeks because I had been exclusively preparing for this regional because I wanted to throw lights out with my Vikings. So
Yeah.
I threw only Vikings. We rolled up. I picked him, or we picked each other. We got selected, whatever, blind draw. And he wanted to throw fast bags. He's great. So I was like, this is one of those instances where I'm just like, he's better with fast bags, and he is a player he's not pro level. He's not really, he plays advanced division, but he actually doesn't do well with carpet. So he's one of those players that throws much better with a fast bag, and he can't really adjust to a slower bag. It just doesn't do him well. So we threw the locos, and I was all over the place. So I know that seems like a long tangent to say this, but the point is that practice with everything, even if it's not every day. I mean, if you throw a certain type of bag, practice mostly with the type of bag that you throw, but always include a set of bags that you're not comfortable with into the rotation.
Yep.
It's just great. Also, it gives you some different looks. I like to alternate. So if I'm throwing my Vikings and I'm throwing a faster bag, I'll throw a block with my Viking, and then I'll try to see if I can get around it with my faster bag, or I'll throw a block with my faster bag and see if I can roll my Viking, or see if I can cut my Viking or air or whatever. Gives yourself some different looks, but it also gets you throwing and thinking about play style with those particular bags. So I know it was a bit of a tangent, but I hope it was helpful. So
definitely. Yeah, no, it's super helpful. I do that same thing too. I'll play against myself with like a block push type, style of play. I'll play with some Vikings, and then I'll play with like the locos or some incinerators or whatever. And sometimes I'll use that to determine like, what bag is working best for me right now. Because if you guys have been playing more than a minute, you know that your skill level just ebbs and flows, and sometimes something works for you and you have to change it, and you're always adapting and changing what you're doing. So I definitely use that as a metric to kind of tell, what am I throwing well with right now? And it's definitely good to keep it versatile for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And also, one other thing that I want to mention as far as throwing different bags is also in blind draw scenarios, don't be afraid to try something different that you've not heard of, because there are a lot of bag companies coming out right now. There are a lot of new bag companies, up and coming bag companies who make really terrific bags who aren't getting any love. And I can give you an example. I know that there's a hit or miss relationship with cornhole scenario because of how expensive the bags are and things like that. But I have an example of when I got my first set of Cat 3s. I have and still have in my possession the very first set of purple Cat 3s. They did not offer purple. I had to pay $20 more for a custom color purple. And so the bags cost me $80. Now, put that in your head. Cornhole scenario bags right now on their website sell for $150, and they resell for over $300. Everybody knows this. I had a set of purple Cat 3s, the only one in existence at the time. They ended up making it a standard color literally like a month after I got mine. So I was a little bitter about that. But I show up to my blind draw with my Cat 3s, and they're money. It's a great bag. It's a really good feeling bag. It's basically, it was a Viper without the dots. And I'm in a heavy Viper area. So people would say, well, what do you want to throw? And I'm like, well, let's throw these. They're like, what are those? I'm like, it's a cornhole scenario Cat 3. I was like, it's pretty much a Viper without the dots. And then people would look at it and be like, oh, I don't know. I don't think I want to throw that. It's like, do you have any Vipers? And I do. So I was like, yeah, I've got some Vipers, but nobody would give these things a chance. not a single person wanted to throw my cornhole scenario cat threes, which is like arguably
crazy.
the single most popular bag that they make and one of the most popular bags in the entire cornhole world right now.
Yep.
So my point is that you don't know what is going to be the next cornhole scenario bag. So
Exactly.
don't sleep on it. Feel the bag, put it in your hand, mess with it, like feel the feel inside, throw it a few times. Don't be afraid to try a new and upcoming bag company's bag, because it could be your absolute favorite and go-to bag. And if you just give it a try. So I would just advise people not to scoff if somebody pulls out a set of something out of their bag and you've never heard of it. If it feels good in your hands and you can throw it, give it a go, because you may end up falling in love with it. So I just wanted to add that. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, definitely. It's super important to keep an open mind with all this stuff. The game's changing all the time. We don't want to be stuck in the mud, and finally, I would just say, if you want to be good at throwing a lot of different bags, just be good at cornhole. I mean, like, if you're just really good and you just put in the time, you put in the effort, like this whole conversation that we're having that, like, may seem controversial or may seem like it's a big deal right now, like, a few years down the road when you've been grinding every day, throwing a bunch of bags all the time and going to events, like, you're probably not even going to worry about this. Honestly, you're gonna be like, I will throw whatever you want, man. Because I just throw smoke no matter what.
Yeah.
And that's where I want to get,
Yeah. That's the way I want to be too. Absolutely. I mean, it's like, I don't care, dude's like, I got a bag full of nickels. You ready? I'm like, let's go.
Sounds good to
Like,
me.
I want to be so good. I know. I just want to be able to show up in an event. Somebody pulls out some bags and they're like, I got these ragamuffin donut holes. Are you ready? And I'm like, let's do it.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Let's do it, man.
Go. Yeah. Come on. And so, yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal.
For sure. Well, guys, it's been a good episode, Dad. I think we gave some people some valuable information for sure. Let us know in the comments down below if this helped you guys out. We really appreciate you guys commenting and engaging with us. We'll try to respond as we always do. We really appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
See you guys.